Coaches, Thomas here from MyCoach Ai, and in this video today, I want to show you how you can save hours and hours and hours of time building your meal plans. If you are big on nutrition, if you are big on making sure your clients have custom solutions when it comes to nutrition, you know how incredibly time consuming this can be, right? From setting macros and calculating them to implementing your own recipes, keeping into account variety and food preferences, allergies, all these different type of things. It can just be incredibly time consuming. And if you've used MyCoach AI before, or you are using MyCoach AI, you may know that we have one solution for this that pretty much just takes away 90% of that process. And it's of course the automated meal plan algorithms that we work with that can directly create these meal plans for clients, super custom. That's not fully what this video today is about. I will quickly show you how that works, but I want to show you a way in which you have a lot more control and still can implement a lot of your own parts of meal plan building. Just do it in a way that is 10 times more efficient by leveraging a little bit of those algorithms. But first, so you know what I'm talking about, the power of that algorithm that we have built can just be to the degree that I go to a client's profile here, I scroll down to their nutrition section, and all I have to make sure is to make sure that they have main macros assigned. So a calorie level and basic macro distribution here. From there, all I have to do is hit this switch here that says auto generate meal plan and add to client schedule. And our system will instantly generate a meal plan for this client based on custom preferences like allergies, removed foods, even custom budget, how much variety you want to use, and of course the main macros that you have set up. And as long as you have this here turned on, it will do so every single week. As you can see here, a 7-day template has been generated, and then the next Sunday is going to regenerate another template again. It's going to give the client a grocery list and everything like this. Super powerful. But today I want to show you a way in which you can still leverage a lot of your own recipes, have a lot more control over what the algorithm generates, and still do some manual work, make super custom solutions for your clients without giving up the control completely and just saving a lot of time. I'm talking about eliminating 70% of the manual pieces of your process. Okay, so let's have a look at that, because this way is super efficient, it's the quickest and most automated way possible. But essentially what you're doing here is saying, whatever the algorithm generates based on the parameters that I have set up, that is what the client is going to be following, and you're not going to do much manually. The other way, for that, we are going to go into our storage drive area and find the libraries section, because essentially we first want to generate a template. What we are going to do is find the meal plans section, and instead of going to the top right corner and saying create meal plan, where you just go completely from scratch and still have a really awesome way to build your own meal plans, we're going to find a way to save a lot of time by scrolling down to the AI meal plan section, create your own meal plan. Make sure this little green AI button is showing on your end, because then you have the right one. And this essentially goes the exact other way around than the regular meal plan builder that you have seen. So instead of you building in the meals onto the schedule and then seeing the nutrition overview as a result of that, this one is going to be us filling out the nutrition overview and even our advanced options. And then from there, the system is going to generate a template for us. But then we can completely modify all of that, which we'll get to in a second. But first of all, let's give it a name. Let's say we want to make a lean bulk meal plan. Just going to keep it super simple for now. And we're going to set some basic nutrition standards here, right? So let's say we want to have it at about 2,500 calories. Let's increase the protein just a little bit here, and we're going to lower the carbs. And we just set the parameters for how our meal plan should generate in either grams or percentages. Then we can also select remove foods if we have any allergies that we want to take into account, or we're just not a fan in general of poultry being in our meal plans, or whatever it may be. We can simply select the things that need to be removed from the meal plan or excluded from it right in here, even by category like vegetarian, vegan, and all these different options. And the system will take that into account when it generates the meal plan. We can also set a custom budget, a really powerful feature, so that not super, expensive ingredients show up directly in your meal plan. If you know your client is on a little bit of a budget, you can select that here. The system will automatically take that into account with the meal options that it generates. And lastly, custom food exclusion. So you can either, you can even generate a meal plan where you say, I absolutely hate, zucchini, you exclude it and it will just not show up in the meal plan. So specific foods rather than broader categories from here. We set those parameters, and then the only thing left for us to do is hit the button here in the bottom right corner that says generate meal plan. And the system is going to look through our 120,000 simple meals, and from there, within literally seconds, create a meal plan within these parameters that we have set. As you can see, 5 options per day, so 3 full meals and 2 snacks. That is often a standard that it sets, and we have an awesome meal plan here. Of course, this is with variety, so every day is going to be different. That's why we hit this button right here. But now is where it becomes interesting. This is the same process as the algorithm would have gone through if you would have just activated it here on the client schedule. But from there, it would have assigned it right away, and you then don't have control over what exactly and what amounts is going to be shown to the client and followed in that way. This way, we do. From here, we generated an initial template, but I'm just going to go up here and say save as new. And what that's going to do is save the AI generated meal plan to the My Meal Plan section. So this at the top here. And so we can find that meal bulk plan. We go into it, and now we can fully edit anything that we want. So we've used the algorithm to set up the basic meal plan in a complete fashion that it's really ready to assign, but now we can do a bunch of interesting things with it. We can now super easily browse through it and say that there's certain meals that we just don't love and remove them from here. Right? We can go in here and say like, this is cool, but oysters, I don't know about that. Let me remove that. And instead, I'm just going to go super simple and add some chicken breast into it, right? So we keep things super simple. You have the ability to do all of that right here within the editor of the meal plan. Now, this gives you complete liberty to work with what the algorithm has generated, or you can just go in and create brand new meals yourself, replacing some of the AI meals that it generated. You can go in and add existing meals, which is awesome. If you have some of your own recipes as well, you can simply use those directly onto these meal plans that initially the AI system generated. In short, you let the algorithm do the bulk of the work, setting up the complete meal plan, and then you customize wherever you want, replacing ingredients, adding some of your own recipes, and pretty much just making it to your liking before it's assigned to your client. So you keep the control. Now, of course, we do have one issue, which is not really an issue, but you may think it is because, of course, we set the initial meal plan to be at a certain calorie level. This Sunday here, we can see is 2,500 calories because that's what we asked the meal plan system to generate. So if I now go in here and I completely delete one of these options and I instead add in one of my own meals, just go ahead here and add the cilantro lime rice, we can see that our calories dropped a little bit because we're making edits. Makes sense, right? But we have a solution for this too. You can simply make your edits and then afterwards just make sure you have the day selected, which you see by it being in green right here. And after you've made the edits that you wanted to, you can simply go back up here and add in again the amount of calories that it should be. And what the system will just do is set the levels of the foods to the amounts, which then matches the calorie level again. Super, super simple, super easy to do. You could do that manually too, right? By just playing around with the amounts and which meals that you are using. But this is a really handy way to just make your edits, reset the calorie level to what it should be, and then you're ready to pretty much assign it. So super customizable. You do anything with it that you want. Use your own recipes, make the foods to your liking, and then you just save it again. What you now have is a really simple meal plan template that can be used across the board, that you spend barely any time building, not hours, but just minutes, because you let the algorithm do its thing, generate the meal plan, and then you just edited what needed to be. The meal plan is still fully custom, full of variety, and you're now ready to assign this to any client at any time. And even keep in mind that if you built this meal plan to be 2,500 calories like we did now, our system can even adjust to whatever is needed, right? If we go to John's schedule here, and John does actually have 2,500, but let's say instead he had 2,400, not a problem. We can just assign a meal plan to anyone with a different calorie level, select the template, and say that you want to assign it to be 2,400 calories instead of 25. And the system, once again, will do its thing, decreasing in this case, or otherwise increasing the food amounts. And in that way, the system will just adapt to the macros that this client should be having. Super simple to do. This is a great way to save hours and hours of time on building your meal plans by initially leveraging our algorithm and then just making the edits that need to happen. Hope that helped.